Good evening, everyone. Welcome along to the Rangers Rabble, and it's 6:30, which means it's the women's show. But as you may have known or won't know, the women's team are on, it's an international break. So we were coming up with ideas what to do today, and we have plumped for the post fixtures. So we are going to go with that tonight. Slight change, but you can't speak about a game that hasn't happened, so that's the way it is. So I've got Wilf and Demi with me tonight. Wilf, how are you?
I'm okay, I suppose. Forgetting what happened yesterday for the men's team, I suppose I'm okay. Glad we've got the fixtures and we can do a bit of arranging. And finally, we'll get to it. We've actually got a fixture that doesn't clash with the men.
Shiver me timbers. I mean, that's just ridiculous, isn't it? It's just unbelievable. Demi, how are you?
Yeah, I'm all right. Thank you. How are you?
Yeah, good, thanks. Good, thanks. So, yeah, the fixtures are out, Wolf. What was your immediate reaction when you seen them?
A bit surprised that the only travelling we have to do is the first two games. Because the first game's away at Hearts, the second game's away at Hibs. So in the space of 4 days, basically we do all the travelling to the east of the country. Because after that, it's obviously the only travelling we've got to do is Petershill and Hamilton. Because obviously Thistle and City both play at Petershill and that other lot play over at Hamilton. So after the 18th of March, the furthest we've got to go is Hamilton, which is great from a point of view of the girls travelling.
Were you convinced by the supercomputer, Demi?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really think, it's a bit bizarre that, we sort of play Hearts and Hibs in the first two of the first half and then we play Hearts and Hibs again on, the first two of the latter half. And then, for the second time in 3 years, we play Glasgow City on the last day of the season. But, it is what it is. We can only play the fixtures that they've given us, but not overly convinced it's as random as they'll make us believe it is.
No, I am certainly not convinced. So the first line of fixtures on the 15th of March is Glasgow City at home to Partick, Aberdeen at home to Motherwell, Montrose at home to Hamilton, Celtic at home to Hibs, and Wolf, as you said, it's Hearts against Rangers. So an opening sort of day, well, the first sort of list of fixtures, I don't really see many. Well, I mean, you could probably say Glasgow City and Celtic are going to win their games. I would suggest Rangers away at Hearts. We've not exactly shined there in the past, have we?
No, I'm surprised with the way they've got the fixtures. There's only one TV game and it's us against Hearts on BBC Alba at 4:10. I mean, I'm delighted that we're on BBC Alba at 4:10 because the men's first team are in Paisley at 12 o'clock, which means we can actually go to Paisley, jump in a fast car, staying within the national speed limit, obviously, in case there's any officers of the law watching, and get over to the Oriam in time for kick-off in that game. So, yeah, I mean, that's worked perfectly from our point of view. I just need to find Demi a ticket for the game in Paisley now, but that's another issue. But there's no other game on TV. There doesn't appear to be any BBC Scotland unless they announce them later. They might change it. I mean, it's only 2 weeks away, a week on Sunday. So they might come out because they've got a habit of doing that in the women's game, saying, by the way, Celtic Hibs is on BBC at 1 o'clock or whatever. You know what I mean? But the good thing is our games are almost so that won't move. So if you are inclined to do the men's game, then a women's game, you can. So that's, for the first time this season, I think that's an absolute bonus.
I mean, Demi, that's ridiculous, isn't it? The first time this season that if you are inclined to go to both games, you actually can manage it, and it's taken them until March to do that.
Yeah, I mean, it's totally crazy, isn't it? Especially because, I get it, if you're playing the part-time teams, but, there's been a few times that, us and Hearts or us and Hibs men's team have both been playing on the Sunday, and, their women's equivalent are full-time teams, so there's no reason that they couldn't have moved it to the Saturday so that, both sets of fans could watch their women on the Saturday and the men on the Sunday. But, that's another thing. And obviously the TV fixtures from sort of Sky changing their WSL slot from 4 o'clock to 12 o'clock, that sort of had a knock-on effect on the men's TV game in Scotland. So a number of contributing factors. But, yeah, it's been a bit bizarre.
Yeah.
The other thing that's bizarre for me, Brian, as I say all the time, is the fact that, the men's team games, it's not just Rangers, it's Celtic, it's basically, it's Hibs, it's Hearts, it's everybody apart from Glasgow City, because Glasgow City don't have a men's team, right? Their team will be playing on the Sunday. So generally speaking, it's probably live on the TV, right? At the same time as the women's team's playing, possibly on the TV. You think the TV companies would want the maximum audience? They probably don't particularly care about bums on seats. TV companies, they just want to, to get eyes on the product, particularly commercial TV companies. You know what I mean? So why have the same clubs games playing at the same time? I've never ever understood that. Even have them starting immediately after each other, so that eyes can watch them. I just don't get the overlapping of games all the time, and it can't be. I mean, it'll be interesting to see when the men's split fixtures come out in April, if any of them clash with the fixtures we're about to talk about, because the women's ones are now set in stone. We know when they are, so we'll just have to. It'll be interesting to see if there's any that come out where the men's ones go, well, we're just having it there and that's it, because most of them will be on the TV, particularly most of our games. So we'll be interested to see how that pans out.
Yeah. And how are you confident Rangers Wolf can get a result at Hearts?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, before we carry on, there's Paul asking the question. Do you think any of our games will be at Ibrox? We'll touch on that as we go through, obviously, because we've got a bit of an idea when the men are playing. But as Keith Bryce rightly says, the Glasgow City game will be at Broadwood on the 22nd of March, because the men play Aberdeen at Ibrox at 5:45 the night before. So there's very little chance of that game with Aberdeen being a lunchtime kick-off on a Saturday that they play two games in a row at Ibrox. The fact it's not on till tea time, there's absolutely no chance that the Glasgow City game's getting played at Ibrox, which isn't a bad thing because we struggle against the big teams at Ibrox.
But there probably is a chance that only one of our games will be played at Ibrox, and it's probably going to be the game against them on the 17th, because that's, if I'm correct, that's the men's Scottish Cup final weekend, isn't it? Or is that the last game of our league season and we're away? Either way, I'm pretty sure there's a high chance that we're not at Ibrox.
I'm trying to think when the Scottish Cup. Well, hold on, double check.
I want to say it's either the Scottish Cup or we're likely to be away.
Well, let's get to that fixture when we get to that fixture. We'll do the guessing with thinking about Ibrox thing between now and then.
And Demi, we're midweek. We're at Hibs. Again, another place we've not exactly found, very easy over the years. So within days we're in Edinburgh twice.
Yeah, we seem to have some sort of curse when we go to play in Edinburgh. We always. Oh, sorry, Dad, not here. No, we seem to have some sort of curse when we play in Edinburgh. Our women's team, but. You've got to look at Hibs sort of late, and the last time we played them at Broadwood, they seem to have a very different starting 11 than what they had when we played them at Broadwood at the start of the season. And there's been a few of their traditionally bigger players that haven't really been included in their team lines as much of late. So we can only but hope that that's going to be the same when we go there, and it can give us something to sort of build on. In our team, we're getting we're getting our players back from injury, obviously. As we spoke about last week, Brogues and Lizzie are back, and Sarah's not too far away from being back. So, Kathy and Raf, I don't think they were both back the last time. So, we've got a much stronger team, and they seem to have a very different team, shall we say. So, hopefully we can go there and take some confidence from two games in Edinburgh.
Right, it's not nice. There's Donald. Donald popped in to say hello and hi, Donald. And I've not been knighted yet. There's still time. But thanks anyway. And a wee super sticker from Chunky. Chunky, thank you very much for the support of the pod. It's always appreciated, my friend. Always greatly appreciated. We've also got all the usual suspects in the comments as well. We'll might as well say hello to them while we're here.
Yes.
Obviously, Paul and Keith have had comments from already. Alan B noticed my good save when we were talking about the driving between cities. Obviously, Paul's always in, so it's great to see everybody in when we're only really talking about fixtures. So
absolutely. I mean, Hibs, as you said, Demi, it's been a tricky one, Hibs, but you would like to think that the form that we're in, and the Hibs have, I think it's noticeable this year that obviously their manager went to the Celtic and they've kind of dropped off. Players have left, so it's as Rolf calls it, one of the worst stadiums you can watch a game. It's horrendous.
It's horrible. You're miles. You're too low down. You're miles from the pitch because there's a running track around it. It's so exposed. It's really if it's windy, it's really blowy. That's horrendous. It's a horrendous place to watch football.
Yeah. So with all that thrown into the mix, Demi, would you say Rangers should win that game?
I mean, I think Rangers should win every game, but whether we do or not is a very different question. Yeah, I will expect it to be sort of tough, but yeah, I've got confidence that we'll win the first 2 games of the split. I mean, I think I think if we don't start the split on a high, we can sort of say goodbye to any chance of winning the league. So, I think we've just got to go through to Edinburgh on 2 occasions, and starters mean to go on in the split and just sort of see what happens round about us.
Brian, the interesting one on the second match day is going to be that lot against Glasgow City, because we need City to start dropping points.
That's exactly what I was away to say. It's Partick Hearts and Celtic City that night, so that's going to be an interesting fixture, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't ever want Celtic to win anything. I don't want them to win rock paper scissors or toss of a coin or tiddlywinks or anything. But we need Glasgow City to start coming back at us. I mean, they're unbeaten this season. They've only drawn 3 or 4 games. You know what I mean? So we're currently a number of points behind them. So it'll be interesting to see how that pans out. But it's very much a case of we can only win our games and see where it takes us, because the second weekend of fixtures, so the third set of fixtures, if you like, we've got Glasgow City.
Yeah,
as we said there in the comments. Keith said they're very likely to be at Broadwood, which is not a bad thing because we struggle against them at Ibrox. That's also live on BBC Alba at 4:10, so we know when that's happening. And that'll be interesting, because really, if we've got any chance of winning the league, we need to win that game.
Yeah,
and it also 100%. Means that we put them back to back, because we've got them in the League Cup final the following Sunday.
That's correct. I mean, it's Hearts Hibs on that match day, third match day. It's Partick at home to Celtic, Hamilton at home to Aberdeen, Motherwell at home to Montrose, and of course, as you just said, Wolf Rangers at home to Glasgow City. And, they've got Glasgow City's got Celtic, on the Wednesday away from home. They've then got Rangers away from home. I mean, if we've got any sort of hope to win this league, as Wolf has just said, you're looking for a result on the Wednesday, a favour, unfortunately, but we'll take any favour we can get, and then we've got to do the business on the Sunday.
Yeah, and I think that obviously we don't want to end our season away from home, but I think given that obviously Glasgow City's away on the last game of the season, well, like Dad said, we have to win the first game against them to have any chance of winning the league. So I think it's almost in our favour that we're playing sort of that game, well, likely be at Broadwood, but, that we're playing it at home. And we can only hope that, we get a decent crowd and it sort of spooks City a wee bit. Broadwood's quite a hard place to play, just with the wind, and the pitch is never great. So it's quite a hard place to go. So yeah, glad that we play them at home first.
Yeah, absolutely. And Wolf, on the Wednesday, midweek again, Glasgow at home to Hibs, Hearts at home to Celtic, and Rangers at home to Partick. So in the past, I would maybe have seen Hibs getting something, or getting a point or something. I just don't see it this time.
No, I think this is one of the fixtures where we may very well play at Ibrox, because it's a Wednesday night. The men don't have any midweek fixtures at that time. So I think if they're serious about playing at Ibrox, I think they'll potentially use Ibrox for this game on April Fool's Day against Partick Thistle. Because, as I say, there can't be a fixture clash with the men, because we're not playing midweek games. From a crowd point of view, the good thing is that the men don't have midweek fixtures, so there's no European games, any of that. So there is no excuse for people not to go to the game. That's the way I'm playing it in the house anyway. So, it's difficult trying to second guess what they're going to. I mean, really looking at the fixtures, very few teams are going to take it off Glasgow City, because they're good, but they have to drop points somewhere. We just have to do our job. Hopefully, I'm hoping that we can beat them back to back. The league game at what's likely to be Broadwood, then the League Cup final at Motherwell, and hopefully we can beat the both of them, and they kind of get they get a bit demoralised, and other teams look at it and go, hold on, they can be beaten. Because it takes somebody to beat them once, and then other teams to go, wait a minute, they're not invincible. No, they can be beaten. That gives other teams confidence. So, and also makes them think, hold on, we can lose games here. So we need something to happen, and it's probably us that's going to have to make it happen.
Absolutely. I totally agree. And then Sunday the 5th, Demi, Celtic at home to Rangers, Glasgow at home to Hearts, Hibs at home to Partick, Motherwell at home to Hamilton, and Montrose at home to Aberdeen. So again, the big fixtures in that are obviously the Celtic, Rangers, and the Glasgow and the Hearts game. So it's, again, this is what we said before, weeks before, that this split's going to be just relentless, isn't it? It's just big game after big game.
Yeah, especially after sort of, the sort of last Women's Old Firm game, and, it was an eventful one. So yeah, that'll be a sort of an interesting game, and I think it'll be another challenging one, and not quite as easy as some of the recent ones we've had against them in the league. But you've got to hope. Hearts, okay, not doing quite as well now, but they started their season really strong. So hopefully also that night they can do us a wee favour and take anything off of Glasgow City would be nice, and that we can just go and beat Celtic as we've done many times.
Yeah, and Wolf, before I failed to mention before that game, we've got at Partick. We'll have the small matter of a cup final, the Sunday before. So we've got the cup final just to look forward to as well.
Yeah, we have. I mean, it's hopefully, as I said a minute ago, hopefully we can beat Glasgow City, and then that'll show that they're not invincible. Hopefully we'll beat them twice in a week, because we really need to beat them in the league game as well. And just see where that takes us. But it's difficult. As I say, it's difficult to try and second guess all these things. You know what I mean? I mean, it's like that Celtic game, right? I've just had a look at the fixtures. The Celtic game we're talking about on the 5th of April. There's a very good chance they might move that. They might move that to the East End, because they're away to Dundee that weekend. So the chances are the TV fixtures for April aren't done yet for either the men or the women. So there's a very good chance that fixture will move to the BBC Alba slot, depending on what time their game with Dundee gets moved to. They might move it to Parkhead so that they'll try and entice a crowd. You know what I mean? And lessen the opportunity for Rangers fans, because there'll be a few Rangers fans that won't want to go if it's at Parkhead, that would possibly go if it was at Hamilton. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yes. And there's Keith saying in the comments, well, the club's website at the moment of the home games with Hibs and Hearts and Thistle at Ibrox, and the City and Celtic games venues to be confirmed. So that's quite interesting. I never realised that. That's quite interesting. So,
well, wait and see.
Hopefully, the more games at Ibrox, the better for me personally.
Absolutely. Amazingly, Demi, Friday the 24th, Friday night, a full card of fixtures. Hibs at home to Celtic, Aberdeen at home to Montrose, Hamilton at home to Motherwell, the Lanarkshire Derby, Partick at home to Glasgow City, and Rangers at home to Hearts. So Friday night, that's a bizarre one, isn't it? Yeah,
I think given that they've sort of played at the tail end of last season, and I want to say the beginning of this season, they've sort of picked one game to have on the telly on a Friday night, in favour of like a Scottish Championship game. But it seems bizarre to have an entire set of fixtures, given that not every team is full time, and that was the full issue with games not being able to be played on Saturdays because players had other jobs, etc. So it seems bizarre that all of a sudden they can do it now.
Yeah, I mean, Wolf, I mean, you've got the likes of, say, you've got Hibs and Celtic, and then you've got Aberdeen, Montrose, which are reasonably close. You've got Hamilton, Motherwell, which is reasonably close, and then I dare say, Partick and Glasgow play at the same place, and and then Hearts are away at Rangers. So there's nothing like, it's not a case of Aberdeen are playing in Glasgow. So I'm not decrying that, but as Demi says, there might be girls that are having jobs and trying to get time off, and it's not easy, is it?
But that's the perils of coming, playing football at this level. I mean, I would imagine that everybody that's a part-time player, they'll have a decent relationship with their boss. They'll know what they do outside of work, and they say, look, there's going to be occasions when, and they know already. I mean, we're talking about 6 weeks' time, right?
Yeah.
So they know already, listen, we're going to need that Friday night, but they've done it sensibly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because, okay, Celtic have to go to Hibs. That's two professional teams. It doesn't matter what happens with that. That's their job. That's what they do. Hearts have got to come to Rangers. Two professional teams. That's what they do. Aberdeen are more or less professional. Montrose full-time professional. Montrose aren't, but it's quite handy. It's what 40 minutes. They're 40 minutes apart. Hamilton and Motherwell are next door to each other, so that's not really an issue either. And as you say, Partick and Glasgow City both play at Broadwood, so that's not really an issue either. So at least it's unusual that it's a Friday, but at least it's sensible fixtures. You know, they've made the fixtures sensibly. It's like you say, it's not like Aberdeen are going to Hearts or coming to Glasgow or any of that stuff, or because it wouldn't be beyond the realms of possibility if a Scottish League setup said, I'll tell you what we'll do on a Friday night. We'll have Aberdeen going away to Celtic playing that over in Hamilton, and we'll have Montrose going down to Edinburgh. You know what I mean? That would just be like it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So at least it'd be quite sensible. And there's Paul saying that Scotland under 23s are playing the Netherlands soon on YouTube. So I hope they're playing it in a stadium, not playing it on a computer. But yeah, I mean we've got quite a lot of representation in the international squad, including a full international call up for Jodie McLeary, which I'm absolutely delighted about. And I know Demi's over the moon about that as well.
Yes, indeed. Well deserved, I'd say.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think her form, Jamie, has been, exemplary this year, isn't it? She's stepped up a level.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And, like we've said, she sort of had to come in the absence of big players. And, she's played sort of basically whatever she's been told. And she's just kind of, got on with it and given the sort of best example of herself. And, you can see how much it means to her. So if she plays the same with Scotland, I reckon it won't be her first and it won't be her last. Well, it will be her first, but it won't be her last.
Well, it's all around there.
That Shin also played today. That she played international. She came on as a sub today for South Korea. They won 3-0 against whoever it was they were playing. Can't remember, but they won 3-0. She came on as a second half sub. So there's Keith with another suggestion about the Celtic game we've just talked about on the 5th April. Another option for the Celtic away fixture is Sky stake it, move it to the following day, Easter Monday for the let's yeah, I never even thought that's Easter weekend. Oh, there's all sorts of also Keith, don't be giving Sky ideas.
No,
but to be honest,
it wouldn't be the first time we played that lot on a bank holiday. So
to be honest, Brian, to Keith's point, if it helps get a bigger crowd in, then I move it. Just move it, because let's be honest, it's not about us being able to attend the game. It's about getting bums on seats, getting people to attend these things. You know what I mean? And if they can make it, I think the Sunday, I would imagine the Celtic Dundee men's team game will move to the Sunday. So they'll probably may want to move it to Monday to try and get more of their own supporters in. But if they can get more people at any of the women's games, then I'm all for that. I mean, I'm surprised nobody's tried a double header yet. Playing a women's game before the men's game or whatever, but I don't quite know how they would do. We obviously couldn't do it because and Celtic couldn't do it because of the season ticket holders you've got and stuff like that. You couldn't do that, but Hearts probably couldn't do it either. But you'd imagine that Thistle could probably do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Montrose and Aberdeen could certainly do it. You know what I mean? But don't know.
Yeah. Unfortunately my Chrome is playing up, so it's asked me to close the app, Wolf, so I'll just dip out and I'll dip back in, okay?
Yeah, that's fine. I'll just carry on.
You're the shit for a minute.
Thanks very much.
I will be back.
So there's Brian with his northeast of Scotland internet problems, although mine seem to work absolutely fine. I'll just take him out of there because he looks a bit glicket. So Demi, we're now end of April. We've got another Wednesday night fixture, and as Keith said, this is on the Rangers website. It's been at Ibrox. We'll play Hibs. Now, there's no reason it can't be at Ibrox because again, the men don't have a midweek game that weekend. That midweek, and the three fixtures because obviously it's a 6-4 split. The top six play more fixtures than the bottom six, so that's why there's a couple of Wednesday nights. There's only three fixtures. It's Glasgow City against Celtic. Again, we don't ever want Celtic to get anything. However, we need Glasgow City with dropping points. Hearts against Partick, and we're at home to Hibs, as we say, potentially at Ibrox.
Yeah, I think was it, if I remember correctly, we had a Wednesday night game against someone at the sort of end of last season. And I think they moved it to Ibrox and it was quite poorly attended, but I don't think they did, sort of much in way of advertising. So hopefully for all the games that, they do move to Ibrox, they actually advertise them. And I mean, I noticed that they were advertised yesterday. I mean, they were on the big screen at halftime for a matter of seconds and sort of never mentioned. So, part of me really hopes that we don't move that game to Ibrox because, we don't really have the best record against Hibs at Ibrox either. Especially at such a pivotal point of the season. But, if they do, albeit we just have to sort of go out there and play football how we know how to. And, like you say, you never won that lot to win a game of football, but we need teams to take, I believe City are 5 points ahead of us, I think.
Yeah, 5 points ahead, yeah.
We need them to really be losing a minimum of 2 games. So, hopefully we beat them twice and then someone else does it too. So we're not going into the last day of the season again with we need to win or we need to not let this other team score a goal or.
Yeah, I mean, Alan, Brian, just to Alan's point there, just before you dipped out, he says Hibs have been able to play the back to back with the proximity they have because we got them in the cup last season. We had them in the women's cup and the men's cup on the same day, and they managed to schedule them that you could do both because obviously they play at Meadowbank, and it's only a mile up the road from Easter Road. I managed to do both of them, and he's right. It was a long day, but it's worth trying. I was more thinking, I'm surprised nobody's tried the double header on the same pitch. So maybe Hibs moving a women's game Easter Road at 12 o'clock and then having the men's game at 3 o'clock or whatever. You know what I mean? Because that's not without the realms of possibility, but you'd have to have the ability to do that with tickets. Rangers, Celtic, Hearts couldn't do it because they've got so many season ticket holders that have to have plenty of time to clear the ground and then get people in again. You know what I mean? But Hibs could do it, I think. You know what I mean? Aberdeen could certainly do it. Montrose could definitely do it. You know what I mean? Partick Thistle could do it. Glasgow City couldn't because they don't have a men's team. But, it's something that it would be nice for clubs to try. I'd like to see Rangers try it, but it's obviously not going to happen. You know what I mean? Because obviously, how do you ticket it? You know what I mean?
It is logistically a nightmare. It really is. And I dare say, looking at the fixtures, the league is Wednesday the 29th of April is one fixture, and then the next fixture jumps to the 10th of May. So I'd assume there's an international break there, Demi?
I want to say it's the Cup final.
Cup semi-finals are on the 2nd of May, 2nd and 3rd of May. Is the Cup semi-finals. We'll be playing Montrose and Glasgow play that other lot.
That's right. Okay, that's cleared that up. Sunday the 10th of May, it's Montrose Motherwell, Aberdeen versus Hamilton, Partick Thistle versus Rangers, Hibs versus Glasgow City, and Celtic versus Hearts. Again, we should be okay with Partick. Wolf. Hibs are at home to Glasgow City. Has Hibs got enough in the locker to damage Glasgow City?
I wouldn't be so sure that we'd be okay with Hibs. We struggle at Petershill. We really struggle at Petershill, even against Hibs. I'd like to think we could take care of them, but it's difficult because you're talking about May. I mean, a lot can happen between now and May. You know what I mean? It's. Yeah. I mean, I think Hibs are out of the title race. I think they're too far behind, but they'll certainly have a say where it goes. And I don't know. They've been a very strange team this season, and obviously with the new manager and stuff like that. You know what I mean? I don't really know how they're going to go on, and it also might depend on how the cup semi-finals go. You know what I mean? Because it might also depend on the League Cup final. Because I mean, either us or Glasgow City will potentially be on a treble, depending on who wins the League Cup. You know what I mean? So, City might. We win the League Cup. City might be, and City lose the semi-final. They'll throw everything at the league, so they might go full strength against Hibs. But then they might have a cup final around the corner, so they might rest players. We just don't know. We just don't know how it's going to go. So it's going to be interesting. But again, the TV fixtures aren't picked for that. So hopefully they wait till after the men know what they're doing, so that there isn't fixture clashes all over the place.
Yeah, definitely. And as I referenced at the start, Demi, this is where I started to. My eyebrows certainly raised when the fixtures came out with the supercomputer predicting the fixtures. We're at home to Celtic, Hearts are at home to Glasgow City, Partick are at home to Hibs, Hamilton is at home to Motherwell, and Montrose, and Motherwell's at home to Aberdeen. So yeah, this was the moment my eyebrows raised when I seen the last two fixtures. I went, very good.
Yeah, I think this all depending obviously on sort of league position in this Old Firm game. It'll be. I'd imagine if we're in a situation where we could potentially win the league the week after. Celtic are going to come out all guns blazing, and I'm not really sure that they're. I mean, there's still a chance that they could be in the title race. So, it could be all guns blazing, sort of challenges, fouls all over the park. But I mean, hopefully that they're miles out of the title race and we've already won it by then. Wishful thinking, I know, but we can only but hope.
Don't mind that train of thought, absolutely. And then, as you said, as we've discussed before, the last day of the season, May the 24th, Celtic at home to Partick, Glasgow City at home to Rangers, and Hibs and Hearts. Wolf, this as you said, this is so difficult to sort of look at and predict, but that was the last fixture we wanted, wasn't it?
I'll be honest, as I said, I think last week or the week before, I just didn't want to be at home because we've been at home and the last couple of years we've blown it. So, didn't particularly want to be going to Glasgow City. I actually thought they might keep us, Glasgow and Celtic, I thought they might give us all away games just so that nobody's at home, if you like, but the only one that's not at home is us. So, they're certainly making sure they don't need a helicopter because they can do that in a taxi, wherever it's going to go. I mean, I would imagine the trophy will be at Peters Hill because I would imagine the winners will come from that game. It might already be thrown up by then, I don't know. But yeah, it'll be interesting. The timings of those games will be interesting as well. I'd imagine they'll play them all at the same time. But again, that'll depend how the league is, because if somebody's already cleared the league, they might just say, well, we'll just make a big spectacle of it. You know what I mean? But two of the last 3 seasons, it's gone to basically the last kick of the ball. So hopefully it does that again, because that means we've managed to claw City back. I'll settle for that. I'll settle for going to Peters Hill, need the win to win the title, because that means we've clawed the space back, the 5 points back that we're behind them now.
I don't know if I could do that 3 seasons in a row, though. I don't know if my heart could take a league decider on the last day of the season again.
Although the situation we're in, Demi, you would probably take it.
I would. I'm not saying I wouldn't take it. I'm just saying I don't know how my heart would take it, because the last couple of years it's not went well.
Well, 2 years ago we played City at Ibrox and we lost it with the last kick of the ball.
Sorry, 3 years.
Was it 3 years ago?
No. Like it's been 3 years in a row, because we played 3 years ago. We played City. 2 years ago we were at Broadwood, and they scored in the last minute. And then last season we had Hibs. Yeah,
because 3 years ago against City, that was the night of that was ironically the night the Rangers Player of the Year dinner that we went to, and City basically scored with the last kick of the ball. The Celtic winning the league, which was very, very. It was painful. It was very, very painful.
I mean, that was the night, Wolf. We did the press stuff, didn't it? Yep, we did that. And the fans behind sitting us were the Glasgow City fans. And they were like, "What does that mean? That's just won the league," and they couldn't believe it.
Yeah, it was weird, but it's drama, and the thing is, it's drama that the women's league don't go big on. I mean, the last 3 seasons we've basically gone down to the last. They've gone down to the last day. 2 have gone down to the last kick of the ball in various different places, and it's just one of those things. You know what I mean? Any other league in the world would be bigging that up as much as they can. You know what I mean? Absolutely bigging it up as much as they can. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that City goal did take it off Celtic. We only had to beat them to win the league, but they scored against us in the last minute to take it off Celtic, which was it was nice because it meant Celtic didn't win it, but it'd be nicer if we'd actually managed to beat them to win the thing. But which is Sniper. It will be the fourth year it's gone all the way. If it goes all the way, I've got a feeling it's not going to go all the way this year, but if it does, it will be. And it could
we said that this time last year. We weren't sitting in in a cushy position this time last year, and sort of everyone had given up hope, and then again we took it down to the last day of the season. So
there's a long way to go, and as you said, Demi, we're more or less back at full strength. You know what I mean? We've got players back. Well, I think Kathy Hill's probably out because she went off injured in the last game. Well, before the last game, Raf's back. There was a nice article on Raf on the BBC website. I think it was. I shared it into the group chat. I haven't read it yet, but that looked quite interesting. You know, it's nice to see our players getting highlighted like that. I know it was the Northern Ireland thing, but still, it's nice to see them getting highlighted, and nice to see Raf's praise for the treatment as well that she got from everybody at the club, saying, you know, that the medical staff listened to everything she had to say and acted on what she was telling them, rather than try to say, "Listen, this is what's wrong with you." I mean, that's particularly good. You know what I mean? So I'll just go with Keith. If I don't know what he's been drinking, but if Rangers men win the league on Saturday the 16th of May, do you think the club will allow them to parade the trophy the following day in the final home league fixture with Celtic ladies? It would be very nice, Keith. It would be very, very nice. I don't think if we win the league on the 16th of May, I don't think any of the players would be sober enough to parade it anywhere the following day, to be perfectly honest. But if there is somebody to parade it, I won't be drunk, so I'll easily parade it for them. It's not a problem.
Absolutely. So with going through the fixtures, Wilf, how confident are you of, you know, snatching this league away from City?
Well, I think we can. Doesn't mean we will, but we basically need to come out and hit the ground running. I think that League Cup final at the end of this month is going to be pivotal, because we played in the league the week before, so we can't afford to lose that game, right? So even if we draw it, right, I'd obviously like to win it, but even if we draw it, it's not a catastrophe. But we have to beat them in the League Cup final, because you've got to get a winner in that, right? It'd be nice to beat them in 90 minutes so that people can see, look, they aren't invincible in big games. You know, they can be beat. People can get at them. It might get other teams going for them, and it will get them thinking, well, hold on a minute, this maybe isn't the shoe where we think it is. You know what I mean? And we just, as Paul's saying there, we just need to keep winning games. You know what I mean? It's very, very much akin to what the situation the men are in just now. We just have to keep winning games. It's akin to the situation, because there's only the men are 6 behind, the women are 5 behind. You know what I mean? So it's very, very similar situations. And there's 2 or 3 teams in with a shout at the title, which is exactly the same in both cases. So I'd like to think we can. I wouldn't be putting my mortgage on it, to be perfectly honest. But then again, I wouldn't be putting my mortgage on any of them, because it could go in. There's going to be twists and turns. It really is going to be twists and turns. And Hibs and Partick are going to have a big say in this as well, because teams will drop points at them without any question. I think, you know, points will be dropped against them by hopefully everybody apart from us.
Yeah, Debbie, how confident are you going through those fixtures that will come out on top?
You know, I think it's sort of tough, because also, you know, in the women's game, everybody plays everybody home and away. It's not, you know, it's not like you get the advantage of being at home or being the disadvantage of being away. You know, everyone has to, you know, go to both. But I think, you know, like Dad said, going to Edinburgh sort of twice at the start could, you know, technically to 2 of the easier teams in the split. So, you know, hopefully, you know, we can just win both of them and go on with a lot of confidence to, you know, sort of when we go to play the team sort of slightly higher up in the table. And I think it's okay, maybe Partick Thistle, but, you know, I think it's probably one of the best starts that we could have asked for, certainly. And I think, you know, if we take 6 points out of those 2 games, we'll have a lot of confidence going into the last games.
Yeah, totally agree. So that'll do us, folks. That is the fixtures. So,
Brian, before we go, I like Sniper's. I like the Sniper's confidence, but I'll go for a treble, not just a League and Cup double. I'll go for a treble, because the League Cup, the Scottish Cup, and the League. So, thanks, Snipers, for getting one in the League Cup final as well. So we'll just, you know, we'll have the 3, please. Thank you.
Yeah. And I dare say tickets are still on sale for the League Cup final.
Yes, they are. Yes, we've got ours. I believe Carr picked ours up for us. I think they're all going to be together, probably right at the front, the same as last year. So that'll be good. But yeah, there will still be tickets. I think last year there was a crowd of just about 4,000 at Firhill, which was decent. But hopefully we can eclipse that.
I mean, it was at Fir Park, not Firhill.
Sorry, Fir Park, Firhill, potato. Fir Park, sorry. Motherwell, I'm glad you were listening, Demi. Yeah. So I mean, because it's a decent venue. You know what I mean? It is quite a decent venue. Easy enough for everybody to get to as well. You know, just because Hearts sparked a dummy because we used a rug, we put a rug in their dressing room. You know what I mean? But I still can't get over that. But anyway, and as Paul says, no injuries for our national players. That would be nice. That would be absolutely nice. That would be very nice. So yeah, hopefully. I mean, no women's game next week, so we'll have a week off next week, I think. Well, we're very nearly having a very short pod today because somebody's supposed to be playing football at 8:30, and I was going down to watch her, but the game's been cancelled. So,
actually, not cancelled.
Well, postponed. It's not happening tonight. So.
Absolutely, Sniper. Make mine a treble, definitely. Yes, so join us at 7:30 for the members pod. That'll be just coming up in 19 minutes time.
You
get your copies. Sorry, I'm double dipping. Yes, I am.
Oh, your turn tonight. Good.
Yes, it's Martin hosting tonight and Paul Stewart with myself. So it's going to be an interesting one. It'll be going over obviously the Old Firm game yesterday. So. It'll be interesting chat. I did watch Live at 5 with you, Wolf. It was, yeah. you restrained yourself very well.
I did, because it was public.
Yes, I do.
Did you see the show last night with Connor? Oof, dearie me.
No, I didn't yet, no.
So, Sniper, the women are back a week on Sunday. That was the first game we talked about, 4:10 at the Oriam against Heart of Midlothian. The one that we can double dunk because the men play at 12 o'clock in Paisley. That's the one where I will be staying within the confines of the speed limits of the law and getting across the M8 and doing both, hopefully.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Debbie.
Thank you, Brian.
Absolutely. Wolf, pleasure as always.
Cheers, Brian. Always a pleasure.
Yep, absolutely. So that's it, folks. 7:30, the members pod, and we'll have a week off next week. So we'll keep your eyes peeled on notifications when we're back, and we'll speak very, very soon.